What if your constant search for happiness is exactly what's making you miserable? Tired of pretending to be okay when you're falling apart inside? You're not broken, you're just caring about all the wrong things. The more you run from pain, the more it controls you. Maybe the real problem isn't your anxiety. It could be that you're giving things more weight than they deserve. Life isn't supposed to be easy, and that's what makes it meaningful. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop chasing validation, drop the fake smiles, and focus on what truly counts. Because sometimes caring less is exactly what helps you live more. From The Subtle Art of Not Giving by Mark Manson, you'll learn everything you need to help you lead a life of greater clarity and resilience by selectively choosing what to care about, embracing inevitable struggles, and taking personal responsibility.
Let's start with a simple but uncomfortable truth. Most of what you've been told about happiness is wrong. Society loves to paint happiness as this shiny, perfect state where all your problems magically disappear. It's on Instagram posts, motivational talks, TV shows. It's everywhere. And you've probably been told that if you're not feeling happy 24 hours a day, something's wrong with you. But here's the thing. This pursuit of constant positivity does more harm than good. The more you try to force happiness or avoid negative emotions, the worse you often feel. It's like quicksand. The harder you struggle to escape, the deeper you sink. It's what's called the feedback loop from hell. You feel bad about feeling bad, then get frustrated for being frustrated, and before you know it, you're caught in an endless spiral of self-judgment. Does that sound familiar? Here's the truth that no one likes to admit. Life is full of problems. Not just one or two, endless problems. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, solving problems is what gives our lives meaning. The problem isn't pain, it's avoiding it. Because when you avoid your problems, they don't disappear. Instead, they grow stronger. Problems fester when you run from them. Think of it like this. Happiness isn't the absence of problems. It's found in addressing problems that truly matter to you. And we all know this deep down. Ask yourself, have you ever noticed that the hardest struggles in your life often lead to the greatest moments of growth? That's no coincidence. Pain is the price we pay for joy that actually lasts. So let's get rid of the illusion that life needs to be perfect. Happiness isn't about living with sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's about learning to stand in the middle of life's storms with purpose and clarity. Happiness isn't achieved by pretending everything is fine. It comes from being honest about your problems and working through the ones you truly care about. By embracing life's struggles, you learn what really matters and make peace with the chaos.
If you feel you're benefiting from this video, support the content by liking and subscribing to the LifeRise channel so videos like this one continue to appear for you.
Here's a question you might not have asked yourself yet. What pain am I willing to endure in my life? Yeah, that's not the kind of thing you usually hear when someone talks about self-improvement, but it's a game-changing perspective. Because everyone wants the perfect life. We all want to be happy, successful, loved, admired, but what are we willing to struggle for? Too often, we're caught up in chasing what feels good, not realizing that every dream comes with its own unique set of challenges. Think about it. You might dream of being in amazing physical shape, but are you willing to wake up early every day, endure sore muscles, and ditch the junk food? You might want a successful career, but are you willing to work long hours, face rejection, or risk failure? Ask anyone who's reached their goals and they'll tell you the same thing. The path to anything meaningful in life is paved with sacrifice, discomfort, and struggle. The truth is, you only have so much time and energy in a day. You can't care about everything and you can't chase every goal. That means the real question isn't, what do I want out of life, but what am I willing to suffer for? What struggle feels meaningful enough for you to commit to? This idea isn't exactly fun or glamorous. It's not what you'll see on motivational posters. But here's the good news. Taking responsibility for your struggles gives you power. When you stop blaming others, stop playing the victim, and start owning your choices, something incredible happens. You realize that no one else is coming to save you, and that's not a bad thing. It's freeing. You see, even if you choose to do nothing, even if you sit on the sidelines and refuse to make a decision, that's still a choice. You can't avoid the responsibility of deciding where your energy goes. So why not choose something that matters deeply to you? Why not care more about quality over quantity in your life? Here's the thing. Life isn't about avoiding struggle. It's about picking the struggles you care about. And when you own those struggles, you stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like the one in charge. Don't chase what feels good. Chase what's worth struggling for. Choose your problems wisely because they define your life. And remember, you're always choosing, even when you think you're avoiding it.
Let's talk about what drives everything you do. Your values. These are the rules by which you live your life, whether you realize it or not. But here's the hard truth. Not all values are created equal. And if your life feels out of balance or unfulfilling, there's a good chance it's because you're holding on to values that, frankly, suck. You see, not all values help you grow. Bad values are things like chasing pleasure, seeking fame, obsessing over being right, or clinging to the idea that you need to stay positive all the time. These values are shallow. They rely on external rewards, things you can't control, or needing other people's approval. And here's the kicker. They leave you feeling empty. Because no matter how much pleasure, validation, or success you achieve, it never feels like enough. On the other hand, good values are the ones that lead to real fulfillment. They're grounded in truth, responsibility, curiosity, honesty, and vulnerability. They're things you can control, things that come from within. When you base your actions on good values, life has more depth, more purpose. You stop chasing endless distractions and start living intentionally. But here's the catch. Having good values often requires you to confront some uncomfortable truths about yourself. It's not easy to admit when you've been holding on to bad values for too long. Maybe you've spent years caring too much about what others think or chasing goals that don't even matter to you anymore. That's okay. It's part of being human. Growth starts when you question your values and ask yourself if they're really serving you. And the thing about values is they shape who you are. If your values are centered on superficial things, your identity becomes fragile. For example, if you value always being right, you'll avoid situations where you could be wrong, even if they might help you grow. But when you choose better values, like being honest or curious, you start to see failure and discomfort as opportunities. You start to change. So, if you've been feeling stuck, unhappy, or lost, maybe it's time to ask yourself, what do I actually value? Are my values helping me align with what matters? Or are they keeping me stuck in the wrong priorities? Your life doesn't improve just by achieving more. It improves when you choose better values. Question your values constantly because they define who you are and how you live. Growth begins when you prioritize the things that actually matter.
It's time to address a message that's hard to hear but liberating once you understand it. You are not special. That might sting at first. It goes against everything you've been told by a world obsessed with making everyone feel extraordinary. But step back for a second and really think about this. If everyone is special, doesn't that make special meaningless? Here's the problem with thinking you're special. It creates one of two traps. The first is fragility. You avoid challenges because failure feels like it would shatter the perfect image you have of yourself. The second is narcissism. You start thinking the world owes you something just because you exist. Neither of these paths leads to real growth or happiness. The pursuit of being extraordinary can feel like a never-ending competition. If you're constantly trying to stand out, whether it's at work, in your relationships, or on social media, you trap yourself in a cycle of stress and insecurity. Because deep down, you know you're chasing significance for the wrong reasons. You're not trying to be better, you're just trying to be noticed. But here's the beautiful irony. When you let go of trying to be special, you free yourself to focus on what really matters. Being ordinary isn't a bad thing, it's what connects you to others. It allows you to breathe and stop comparing yourself to an impossible standard. Instead of aiming to be better than, you start aiming to be authentic. Think about it. Who do you admire most in your life? Is it because they're perfect or because they're real? The truth is, the most meaningful parts of life come from our ability to embrace our flaws and learn from our failures. Success isn't about being extraordinary, it's about showing up, trying, failing, and figuring it out. Every failure teaches you something. Every mistake is a stepping stone. When you stop chasing the idea of being special, you allow yourself to grow without the fear of judgment. You let go of thinking you have to prove something to the world. Suddenly, life isn't about being the best, it's about being the truest version of you. And that's where real growth happens. You don't need to be extraordinary to live a meaningful life. By accepting your ordinariness, you free yourself to grow, connect, and focus on what truly matters. Real growth comes from showing up and being real, not from trying to stand out.
Let's talk about the one thing most of us spend our lives trying to avoid: death. It sounds grim, doesn't it? But here's a paradox. Embracing death isn't about giving up hope. It's about living with purpose. When you face the reality of your own mortality, life suddenly becomes sharper, more vivid. What matters becomes clearer, and the noise starts to fade away. Here's the truth. You're going to die. I'm going to die. Everyone you love is going to die. It's uncomfortable to think about, so most people don't. But when you ignore death, you also ignore the urgency of life. You start wasting time on things that don't matter, chasing superficial goals or living for someone else's approval. You lose sight of what's truly meaningful. Instead, what if you allow death to teach you how to live? Imagine sitting with this thought. If I only had a few years or even months left to live, what would I do differently? Who would I care about more? What would I stop wasting my time on? Those are the questions that push you toward what really matters: your values, your relationships, the legacy you leave behind. And let's be clear, your legacy isn't about fame or fortune. It's about how your values live on through others. It's about the love you gave, the lessons you taught, and the example you set in how you lived your life. That's what memento mori means. Remember, you will die. Not so you feel despair, but so you feel alive. Real freedom comes when you stop running from your mortality. You stop wasting time pretending you'll live forever and start using your time intentionally. Every moment becomes sacred. Every yes becomes purposeful. When you accept death, you stop wasting life. You prioritize your values, focus on what truly matters, and make every moment count. Mortality isn't the enemy. It's the sharpest lens through which to view your purpose.
So where does all this leave us? Life isn't about being happy all the time. It isn't about avoiding pain, pretending to be special, or chasing easy pleasures. It's about embracing the messiness of being human, the pain, the struggles, the imperfections. It's about choosing values that matter, accepting your ordinary reality, and living in a way that aligns with who you truly are. Yes, life is short, and it's hard, but that's what gives it meaning. The bad days make the good ones brighter. The struggles make the victories sweeter. The failures teach you how to grow. And in the end, what matters isn't how many mountains you climbed or the applause you earned. It's how you lived, loved, and the legacy you left behind. You don't need to have everything figured out. Just take it one step at a time. Face your problems with courage. Be honest with yourself about your values, accept your flaws, and focus on the things that truly matter to you. Because in the end,
The best thing you can give to life isn't perfection. It's your authenticity, your honesty, your effort. That's where real growth, real fulfillment, and real purpose live. You don't need to live a perfect life. You just need to live a real one that reflects your values, allows room for growth, and accepts the struggles as part of the journey. Find meaning in your struggles, and you'll find meaning in your life.
Thanks for watching. If this helped you, you're going to love We explain how hormones and brain structure influence women's emotions, behavior, and relationships at different life stages, from childhood and adolescence to motherhood and menopause. It dives even deeper into how hormones control the female brain and what is the best way to deal with them in a practical way. Click right here to keep learning, and I'll see you there.